Okay, so here we go. So on Friday, we got servers 1, 2, and 3 installed. And just need to kind of look around and see what has happened. I think we may have even got the flexible single master operation roles configured. I'm starting to remember, see, I teach LAN 1, and they're installing too, but we're going at a slower pace because they're noobs and y'all are great engineers and have sped through all of this stuff. Yeah, slightly less noobs. I'm just kind of looking. Well, I got server 1 at contosa.com. I've got my domain controllers in there. I do not have server 3 in here, but it does look like I've got it installed and running. So server 2 is a DC, not a global catalog, and my operation master roles are running on server 2, which is good, especially infrastructure master should be running on the non-global catalog server. So server 2 is that server, and it is a domain controller, not a global catalog domain controller. So we've got all of that complete. And we had complete in-class labs of a group policy. We need to get server 3 up and going so that we have a place for file sharing. On server 3, does everybody have a server 3 installed?
Sí, señor.
So remote PC there. Gabriel's asked about remote PC. Here we go. Resume recording here. So under week 1, you can see every class from last week. You know, the 24, 26, 28, and we go over all the stuff for setting up servers 1, 2, and 3. I do try to get those posted, and you can, if anybody's ever behind, you can remote in in the evenings and stuff to help get caught up like that if you're out sick or something. I've had some people comment on these YouTube videos and they're like, this wasn't very well prepared. I'm like, well, it wasn't meant for a YouTube video for you to come in and learn something or to be walked through real quick. It's for a class, and every one of you is running at different speeds. So.
You like my jacket, Mr. Goodman?
What?
You like my jacket?
Your jacket? I can't see you. I'm sharing
Yes,
my screen. It's not going to show you.
Yes, you can. I know you can. Don't play with me again. I ain't doing with it.
No, I've got.
I got Patriots on.
When I share a screen, it doesn't show.
Oh yeah, you're right. Never mind. Don't worry about it.
Yes. Yeah, am I looking at your screen? Oh, okay. You raised your hand, so I thought you were the one talking.
No.
I'm like, I should have recognized. Monday main server 3 failed to create virtual hard disk. It's failed. So you're creating server 3?
Yeah.
Okay, click close on that. Click browse button. Something's hit cancel. You should see something there. What do we create a virtual hard disk? Use V drive. Oh no, that's click use an existing virtual hard disk on yours. And then click browse. Do you have a Monday server 3 already?
Yeah, but I'm not making money.
So what do you mean making it? You install the full graphics or something?
Yeah,
Okay, well then just right click that and delete that server 3 one.
I
You'll have to highlight it first, I guess. You have to left click and then. Okay. Now when you go create and hit next and finish, it should create now. It can't overwrite an existing one.
Windows 3.
No. No. Now browse as the server SWDVD 9. Yep.
Is that throwing this up on that?
Okay. You installed Windows 10. It said, I think I remember that. Or somebody did Windows 10 so, but you're installing with the very top option when it goes through and it gives you 4 options. Which server do you want to install? You want to install the top one without the desktop.
I figured out.
Okay, yeah, I'm still recording. And Brian's got server 2. So you must specify a user account name. Yeah, and that's server 2. So you could Contoso / administrator. That looks right down there. Hit change on that button. Just type administrator and pass on 2, 3, 4 again. And then hit next.
Mr. Good.
That goes. Yep, uncheck your global catalog and it allows you to. And then put your password in and everything else should be just default past that point. After you uncheck the global catalog and put the password, there should be no other changes next until you get to install. And you can even, while it's installing and rebooting, you can even start working on server 3. It doesn't require server 2 to be running yet for it to work. I don't know if you have server 3, but all the rest is just next when it allows you. So we are going to deploy Google Chrome. I know we deployed this when we did LAN 1, but we're going to do a little bit more advanced this time. You know, we created an application share and deployed out the Google Chrome with an MSI file. And we're going to set up a central store though, and use the group policy template that comes with Google Chrome. That way we can use the group policy editor and see settings that we can modify for Google Chrome for all of our client machines. So it is a feature of Windows. SCCM server, most companies buy a separate server to handle things like this.
Did you remove Kali from the resources tab in Canvas?
What?
I wasn't able to find the Kali download. Oh wait, I'm in the wrong class. My bad. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, that's wrong class. That's some weird sound. Was that the squeaky wheel? Scary stuff happens. Okay.
Mr. Goodman.
Yes.
Do you mind if I just come to class? Because my computer's tweaking.
Let's see. He said at number 16.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah, there's a space for you in here, and it'd still be social distance.
Okay. My computer will not allow me to access my computer. It keeps saying like it'll say online and then it'll instantly go back offline. I don't know if that's a computer, if it's my computer.
Number 16.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, it'll be online in a couple of minutes, and then as soon as I try to remote in, it'll instantly go back offline. It'll just glitch my computer out.
Well, let me see what's going on with your computer.
Maybe you've been hacked.
Full screen it. I did see it's going on and offline. Let me see what's going on.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether it was my computer or whether it was the computer at school. But it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter to me. I mean, I live like 3 minutes away from the Dagenham school.
It's like doing something. I don't know what.
It did it again. Now it's offline again.
Now my remote PC has gotten weird again. Okay. Maybe doing a Windows. Let's see if it's doing something in the background. Problems installing updates. Oh, looks okay. Got a spinning wheel. Why do I have a spinning wheel? That all looks good. That may be causing some issues. That may be causing issues. That normally causes problems. So I install a couple of apps. When issues like this happens, Steam and Minecraft are two that typically, for some reason, have remote PC issues. Looks like that's been installed a while ago, but date could be false too. It's got to be false because these machines have been through every semester with that stuff uninstalled. Now it shows it's online again, Jeremiah. Oops, not the window I wanted to grab. Okay, Jeremiah, check now if it stays stable in the remote end.
Hey, Mr. Goodman, on my remote desktop, every time I try and log in, it just goes black. Like I'll do
Yeah, I'm going to watch your screen here for a second. So see, it went black.
yeah.
And does it just stay black? What happens?
Yeah, I left it there for like a while. Just stayed like that.
Um, Let me remote control your computer. So don't move your mouse here. No control. Send Windows P to it. Is the monitor is on, right?
Shoot, is it?
Um, that works. I don't know why Explorer wasn't running. I did Control Shift Escape to bring up the task manager, and let me get it to where my, if I can see a little bit clearer on your screen. Okay, so what I did when it was all black, Control Shift Escape on the keyboard, brought up task manager, and I went to more details. So this is a cool little troubleshooting thing I did, and I went to File, Run New Task, and I typed Explorer and hit OK, because Explorer is the desktop, the start menu, all of that.
Okay.
And when I clicked OK, it brought the desktop up. I don't know why Explorer was not launching on your machine, but I've been doing computers since 1992, so
Yeah.
I've seen some workarounds like that. It should not have just stayed black, but
That,
my
yeah.
first thought was
Kind of. I
just
never
try
saw
to-
that before.
Yeah, just try to run Explorer.
All right.
But definitely not something that you probably would have known to do. But maybe the class, you've seen it now. Cool little tip. If it just, it's rare that you'll hit that, but you working in IT, you may hit that more often because you'll be going around to computer to computer to computer trying to solve stuff, and you'll hit things like that. Okay, so where am I doing? I am back to server 3, Hyper-V. Server 3, we need to add another hard disk to server 3. We're not going to dump anything majorly big onto things, so probably creating like a 50 gigabytes hard disk would be sufficient for us to do some file shares like Google Chrome and just some simple text documents. If you go to the settings on your server 3 in Hyper-V, you can add a second hard disk while it's running. So you just go into settings, go to your SCSI controller and your hard disk, and you click add, run through the wizard and create a 50 gig hard disk on it. And what would I want to name this? Monday server 3 disk 2 maybe? Probably. We said we wanted to be 50 gig in size. So that you mess with Hyper-V enough, that shouldn't be too hard for you to run through that wizard and finish it out. Just look at those dialog boxes and read what you're doing on those pages and create that extra 50 gig drive. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to connect to server 3. Make sure I'm still recording here and move my controls around. Move the controls over here. That's cool. But that didn't change what was sharing my screen. Y'all can still see my screen, right? Remotely. Looks like Jeremiah is probably coming here to class. Is he logged out? Okay, well, I'm going to assume that y'all are still seeing my screen share. Server 3, we hit the little Control-Alt-Delete to log in. User must change password. Okay, so I've never logged into this one before. Yep, there he is. So Jeremiah, we added a second drive to server 3. We just went to settings and add drive and made it 50 gig in size. We just did Monday Goodman server 3, or well, not Goodman, use the last name. And then at the end, we just put disk 2, so it'd be a unique name. Now I'm logging into server 3, and I'm going to run the S. Do you remember the configuration command from last year to configure server 3 from the command prompt? Anybody? Anybody remember the command? Good, good. Sconfig. Glad somebody remembered. So sconfig is short for system config, and it brings up a menued screen here with 15 options.
As config is a configuration.
Our server with. So I'd kind of always like to start at the bottom for some reason. I don't know. I'm gonna activate Windows. If I hit number 11 and hit enter, I need to hit number 2 to activate install a product key. I guess number 3 looks like I need to install the product key. It wants me to enter the product key. Remember how to access my product key? When you bring up File Explorer, it might actually be in one of your recent files to open up. If not, you remember it's // and we changed the computer names in here. DV dash AT dash 106 dash INST. So you type that into the little bar, and if you go under share, it's the third file right there under share. And I will paste that into the chat. So anybody remoting, if I minimize this, you'll see the path there in the chat window.
What thing again? How do you go to the new screen of config?
The sconfig. So I just copied the standard product key there, and go to clipboard and type clipboard, and it types the product key in, hit OK, and it should be good. We shouldn't, I don't think we have to run the activation. I just believe installing it is all we need to do. But I'll go ahead and hit number 2 to just make sure. Product activated successfully. I guess we did have to hit number 2. Exit that out. So you do number 3 first, then number 2. And then you can do number 1, display licensing information, and it should tell you that you are automatically activated, and that it's a VM activation. It activates against our host machine, against our host machine. That product key we entered, if y'all remember, I talked about it's a public key. Everybody uses the same one, any company, for activating a virtual machine. Because
Where do I go from here?
it tells the virtual machine to check the host and figure out if you're running standard or data center. and it gets the license from your host machine. Okay, number 4, return to the main menu. Jeremiah, did you raise your hand?
Yeah, I'm just,
Okay.
it's //DD -OC -106 right?
Yep. INST. Yep. Yep. Instructor, not Insta. It's short for instructor. You're using forward slashes, not backslashes, then,
Oh,
or wax. Got to use wax, not forward slashes. Should probably just stop my video. Just work on sharing the screen. I don't know if my head was like over any of the screen share or not. Probably. Okay, so I'm back to my blue screen right here. I'm just going to kind of work up. I even read magazines backwards. Is that weird? Okay, I'm glad you don't think that's weird. So I'm going to go. We've activated Windows. Don't need to worry with telemetry settings. Date and time, though, number 9. I'll go ahead and set my date and time. We just have to set the correct time zone for Central Time, US and Canada, not Central America. That's a quick set. Moving on up to network settings. So number 8. We need to select an adapter. And the index number is probably 0 on everybody's, but make sure you look at the index number. Jeremiah,
actually lost mine.
you can do your Control-Shift-Escape, and that brings up Task Manager. And just go more details. And go to File, Run Task, top CMD. Wait, Haley just typed 9. I'm confused. I know, so I'm on option 8 here, network settings. My adapter and index number is in the list. I'm going to type in that number, hit enter. We need to set the adapter address. I'll just do number 1. This one I'm working top down. We want to use static. And we want to use 192.168 dot. Make sure what our network is running. Yeah, so we're running so that'd be a 2.3. for this class. I just looked at the other servers, noticed they're on the 2. Network, 192.168.2. Server 1 and 2 is .1, .2, so server 3 is going to be .3. Default subnet mask, cool, you just have to hit enter to accept the default. You don't have to type it. And the gateway, we have no gateway, so enter. That sets that up. The DNS servers need to be set. You remember what your DNS servers are, right? Uh-oh, I typed that wrong. Dead, gummit. But all I have to do is hit 2 again, and type it in right. Hope you didn't copy me. If you did yours correct. Okay, so servers 1 and 2 are the domain controllers that run in the DNS service. That's why to type their IP addresses in for the DNS server. Y'all did that last year. You should have done the 192.168, the 2.1, 2.2 is in there. And once that's in there, I can do this cool little nifty thing. I can do a control shift escape here, and I can open up another command prompt window, run a CMD, just like Jeremiah had to do to bring his up when it was closed. But I can open up a second one, and I can ping, see if I can ping out. Can I ping my DNS servers? I can. You can also do some name resolution here. You could ping server1.contoso.com and make sure that the DNS server is working. That way, you know you've got your network settings while you're still sitting there at the network settings screen to know that you're pinging correctly. That's number 11. We have a ping transmit failure. Interesting. Okay, go back to your other blue screen one. So it's still, yeah, do number 1 again and S. And, nope, got to hit S there. Okay, now it looks like it took. You know, you can hit the up arrow key to in those command prompts. Sometimes it just does that, where you type it in and it won't take. I have in the past had to restart the server. It would just keep going back to the PIPA address, but I know I typed it in and configured it, so I just exit out and hit 15 to restart, or 14, or whatever the option is. When it restarted, it came up correctly. But that's just the troubleshooting thing going on. So I can ping correctly. The name resolution is correct. So at this point, I can return to the main menu, number 4. Let me get back to the main menu here. I want to enable remote desktop. So number 7, we'll go ahead and enable it. We want to E for enable. And we're all about security, right? So pick the secure option. Okay, remote desktop is enabled. I don't need to download and install updates because Well, we're not connected to the internet. Remote management is enabled. My computer name is wrong. I don't want to have to memorize Win-G2978PQEJNM all semester long. So I'm going to hit number 2. I'm going to type server 3. Remember, names cannot have spaces in them. And we have to restart now. What have we learned today? That you can hit Control-Shift-Escape to bring up Task Manager and launch Explorer or CMD. That's a good tip. Yes. So you just hit the number for remote desktop and hit the letter to enable it. And we did the one that's more secure on the option. Okay, these things boot real fast. That's why people like to run server core, but you see how fast that rebooted? So I'm gonna hit Control-Alt-Delete. Log into it. Run sconfig again. And I want to join it to the domain this time. We pinged before the reboot, so everything should be great. I'm looking here, my server 3 is correct on the server name. I'm now at the point that I can join into the Active Directory domain, contoso.com, number 1. And we just join in. You should be able to follow these prompts along and not have to watch me or anything. Because y'all have done this before. And the prompts will give you some pretty good info on what to type and what to do. That joined really fast. But you're at the critical thinking stage. So your second class in this. So read prompts. Yes. So let's see. You haven't changed your computer name yet. You can't have spaces. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's what, yes, it does that. Now, I think we had some trouble last semester when we did this. When you try to log in, if you log on any client machine or member server machine, remember they both have a local sign-on and a domain sign-on after you join the domain. So we have to escape. We have to get out of the local administrator. That's the last one we log into. But once you join the domain, you need to escape out if possible and select a other user. You log in with either contoso/administrator or administrator@contoso.com.
Which version of Windows am I installing?
The top one.
added a VM key. But, Windows.
Yeah. VM key probably should not, it won't activate.
It did actually. Like the 2015 VM key,
Yeah, this one is, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that's correct?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're 2016 server virtual machine keys, meaning you're running 2016 as a virtual machine. They're only used for virtual machines. You can't use those keys on a system where you install it directly. Okay, my server 3 is up and going, except for I think we just wanted to shut the firewall completely off. We did some study last year where we could go in and we could look, we could get net firewall rule, and we could pipe it, select display group, and comma enabled, and we could see what was allowed into the system, what wasn't. We tried to pick which service we were using, but we can just, for lab purposes and speed purposes, we can just shut off the firewall. We can do that with PowerShell. We can just enable all of the rules and open everything up. What I would do to run that is I've logged into the system as a Contoso / administrator, and I'm going to run PowerShell. Right now I'm in a command prompt, so we do have to run PowerShell. You just type it. And you know that you're in a PowerShell. It doesn't turn blue like it does in the graphical one. It keeps it black, but you know that you're PowerShell when it has PS added to the front of the prompt. And at this point, we can type in a command and then take a break. So it's set dash net firewall rule, I think. I'm going to hit my tab key. It should auto-complete it in a little bit. Yeah. Takes a few seconds for it to auto-complete when you hit tab. That makes you sure you've spelled everything correctly. Set dash net firewall rule space dash, I'm going to say display group with an asterisk. And I'm going to put space dash enabled space, and I'm going to just type true. Hit enter. And it is going to turn the firewall off on 351 components. Not a good thing to do. Awful thing to do. Don't do it in a production system. This is just lab stuff, and we went and hunt and picked at it last year. But I want to get into playing with group policy and not spend a couple of days hunting and pecking at the firewall to enable file share and everything. So we just turn it completely off. So we should take a break, and when we come back, we'll see if we can add this into server managers on servers 1 and 2, manage this system remotely. It should be easy to do that now. Well, let's pause this recording. Zoom recording. So we killed off our firewall with PowerShell. So the firewall, the PowerShell command was set net firewall rule display group star enabled true. So that right there was, and I'm recording this again. Yep, I'm recording that again. So that disabled the net firewall rule. Yes.
Why, when I was open up the open backup service, maybe operating system.
Probably because you did the same thing Jeremiah did. So turn off that machine. Let's see what you did on yours. So you don't need the CD in there anymore. That way it won't accidentally boot. It looks like you changed out the hard disk. Instead of adding a new one. So your server 3 right there has to be the hard disk. And then you add a hard disk, you browse. And there's your disk 2. Yeah, you replaced your boot drive. The same thing Jeremiah did. I mean, it's already connected. Maybe I have to apply it and then add it back in. Okay. Back row trouble. Now we're going to see if we can add in, go to server 1 and see if we can add both server 2 and server 3 in the server manager. I see some of you's already jumped ahead and done that. That's good. I like to see people jumping ahead and go, Mr. Goodman's going to want us to do this. I want to manage my server. So server 1 and server 2, really, you could go to your server manager, and you should have this server 1 right now. But if you're some of the people like, yeah, I want to manage all my servers. You want to add both servers into server manager so you can manage them graphically, especially server 3. You just click find now. Since we're not like UAMS with 28,000 nodes on the network, we can just click find now and it'll show everything in our network. If you work at big networks like that, you don't want to just click find now with a blank name there. It would take a while. So I'll hit OK. Should load everything up. Access denied. Awesome.
Online performance scan is not starting to make this research available. Undo find all of them.
So that's where you go to manage add server in the menu bar at the top right. Add servers. And then you'll have find now, and it comes up. Yep. I just had to refresh a few times. If you remember from last year, I think it's a bug in the system because we don't have any service packs and stuff. When we did our offline service pack install, that issue went away. You'll just have to remember day to day, it may pop up and say, hey, we disconnected, but it's just a bug that Microsoft has fixed in the later patch. It says not activated. Let's look at here. So not activated. That's so you can go back to server 3 and run your sconfig. And we can look at 11. and hit number 2, activate Windows, and see what it does. That name does not exist. Okay, exit that, hit number 4, just.com. So we joined in, that all looks good. Go back to number 11. And do you have that license key copied? Yeah, I'd go back to that number 3 and then copy that license key again. It's ours right there in your favorites, recent files. It's the second one. Control Z undoes. Control C copies, yeah. Hearing myself Windows non-core edition. That's weird. Go back to that text file again. Oh, just copy that bottom line, all of it, and paste it in that command prompt. Not there, they have the black command prompt. That's odd. It don't really matter if it's not activated, but that's really weird. You may need to just tell to reboot again.
I know my friend has an patient's like that.
On the number, the blue screen, you can go to that one now.
There was just a, oh,
No, not that reset. Go to the blue screen. Your
there was just an error.
then return to main menu, hit number 4. 13 restarts. Okay, you should be good. You shouldn't have to log in. Just go back and refresh your screen. If it still says not activated, it'll work for the semester. I'm halfway sure. Halfway sure. Yep, it's just going to be not activated. Shouldn't cause any problems. I'm gonna go back to your server 3. You might do the same thing to restart number 13. And all else fails, restart. Now go back to your server 1 and refresh it. I'll go back to server 3 and do your escape so you can get over to the escape again. Not going to work. I'll hit enter then. Type your password and go into sconfig and do number 12 to log off. Now do your escape to get to other user. And do your contoso / administrator. Okay, now if you go back and do a refresh, it'll probably look better. Go back and look at server 3 one more time. Sconfig, do your number, look at your network settings, number 8, and then 0. Yep, that's all good. Hit 4 to return to main menu. Check your DNS settings on server 1 and 2. Just go to local server, click your link. That may be it. You don't have the 192 and 2.1, 2.2. Okay, that one looks good. Now if you refresh, do one more troubleshooting thing. Right click your start menu and open a PowerShell window. Right click it. Or command prompt, that works too. Command prompt admin. Do your IP config space / flush DNS. Flush DNS. Okay, now go back and refresh your other page. These access denied and stuff are pretty common. So I think I'm back on my screen now. Can I open computer management? I'm just testing out my firewall, see what I can connect and do. Yep. So having the firewall completely off, I can fully manage server 3. It's really bad to do that. What we did. So don't just dump your firewall, but for lab purposes, threw it away. Cut it out of our way. Is everybody else able to connect to their server 3 and say launch computer management, or that'd be your biggest test if you can launch computer management from server 1. That will tell you if all the networking is correct, you got the firewall off. Cool beans. Yes. Wait, what's the access denied? You right click. make sure, like we did with Brian, check your TCP/IP properties on both server 1 and server 2. Check your DNS settings. Go to local server there on the left side. Click your network adapter, Ethernet there. Yep.
Okay, I'm one.
On 2.168.2.1, 2.168.2.2. So that looks good. You may also need to do a flush on your DNS too. Tell it to refresh like we did on his. Open the command prompt and your ipconfig/flush DNS. Yes. ipconfig/flush DNS. That's a really, if you have not had to use that before, that's kind of common to do if you've messed with anything with adding new computers to the network, new servers, upgrading DNS servers, add a DNS server, change computer names in DNS settings. That's really common to have to do. So you might make some notes that you know that you can hit the Control-Shift-Escape to bring up a command prompt window. You're getting a bunch of errors. That means your firewall is still on server 3. Did you just power it off? Maybe it was locked up. I don't know. Log in and then go back and see if you can launch computer management. You ran, I think you did run that firewall command. Yeah. Okay, go back to server 1 now and then see. It may have just, I don't know what happened. Cannot be managed. Verify the network path is correct. Okay, hit OK. Go back to server 3 again. Type sconfig. I just want to look at a few things. Make sure remote management number 4 is enabled. Remote desktop is enabled. That should have been just default. Go back to server 3 while it's doing that. And let's do take control. Trying to bring up a terminal window. Yeah, your firewall command didn't take for some reason. But I thought you did it. Didn't we work with this together? Is that you? Somebody else? Okay, now they're all true. Now it should connect and work. So you can like 15 on that. Now go back over to server 2 or server 1. Yeah, right click, connect. It should jump in computer management. Yep. Cool. So all 3 servers up and going. One thing we've not done, we've not set up the 50 gig hard drive yet. We're getting towards the end of class. So make sure we can see the 50 gig hard drive by going under the last option over here, file and storage services, looking at disk, and it should show all. And refresh. Should have server 3 pop in. There we go. So server 3, it took a little while. The server 3 popped in. It should pop up and show the 50 gig is unknown and offline. That's where I want to end today. So we can configure that on Friday. We can then go start looking at downloading Google Chrome Enterprise Deployment Package and creating a central store for group policy, and then setting up a shared folder off this 50 gig drive, putting the installer in there and deploying it with group policy, and then modifying group policy and seeing that we have Google Chrome as an option to say make changes to it. So you could add in bookmarks or different things into it and control it for everybody in your company. So that's what our goal is Friday, but we got our 3 systems going. Looks pretty great. Once we get Google Chrome deployed and the group policy set correctly, it'll probably be maybe next week that we'll be installing Windows 10. And when Windows 10 gets installed and we join it to the domain, it should automatically get Google Chrome with all the policy settings on it. So does everybody have this 50 gig? Does it show up when you go under File and Storage Services? You click on Disk. You may have to refresh a couple of times. But server 3 should appear and show you've got 50 gig disk on there. Everybody got that? Cool. So I'm going to stop the recording.